Hey guys, it's Miss Kretza here. So today we're going to be taking some notes on ratio tables and you're going to be working through a Nearpod and answering some questions so I can tell that you have mastered the content. And so I'm going to go ahead. I hope you're having a great day. Make sure if you have questions that you're emailing me or sending me a message. So we're going to go ahead and take notes. I'm going to switch to my notes screen. Okay, I'm going to switch to my notes screen. Give me just a second. Okay, so we're going to be taking notes in your math binder. So make sure you've got your math folder open. You can see here's the first set of notes that we took. So go ahead and turn to a new page, and we're going to be talking about ratio tables. And grab your pens. You can see how many pens that I have today because we're going to be taking some notes where we're going to need some different colors. So grab your pens or your markers and let's get going. So today we're going to be talking about ratio tables. So we've talked about what a ratio is. A ratio is just a way that we can compare two quantities. So let's actually put this into the real world example for ratios. So let's talk about ratios. Okay, let's just start with an example and say Ms. Kretza has a job and I'm making $10 per hour. So I know that I make $10 per hour, and that per hour language means for every 1 hour. So every 1 hour that I work, I'm making $10. Let's start a ratio table. This is what a ratio table looks like. You need to make sure you label the ratio table. So dollars for every hour. These are the two things we're comparing. How much money am I making for the hours worked? Make sure you label the ratio table. So make sure you label that ratio table. Okay, let me see if I can get my camera down here just a little bit. So I know that for every 1 hour that I work, I'm making $10. This is the original ratio right here. So we've talked about this before. This is the original ratio right here. So we've talked about that we can scale up and scale down ratios. So say that I'm going to work 2 hours. So if I work 2 hours, how much money do I make? Well, you already know that. For if I work 2 hours, I'm going to make $20. Well, what did I do there? Well, I knew that if I moved from 1 hours to 2 hours, that I had multiplied by 2. And so I'm going to also have to multiply the numerator by 2. So this is how you use a ratio table. The ratio has to stay the same. So you just looked at the horizontal relationship. So we have a horizontal relationship in this ratio table. The horizontal relationship in this ratio table is that we are multiplying by 2. So if you do it to the bottom, you do it to the top. So multiply by 2 in the bottom, multiply by 2 in the top. The other relationship that I want you to make sure that you see remains the same here is the vertical relationship. This vertical relationship between these two ratios. So the pink is our first ratio. Let's just do the brown is our second ratio, and these are equivalent ratios. What do we notice about the vertical relationship between 1 to 10? What do you have to multiply the denominator by to get the numerator? By 10. The same should be true for the second ratio. In order for these ratios to be equivalent, the vertical relationship remains the same. So the vertical relationship is going to remain the same. So 2 is the vertical relationship in our ratio table. There's a horizontal relationship, which we talked about, and a vertical relationship that we talked about. So the vertical relationship always stays the same. Now let's just say I'm wondering here how much I'm going to make if I work 10. Let me try to use a different color that I haven't used. So what if I am going to work 10 hours? 10 hours. I can multiply 1 times 10. I'd have to do it to the numerator, 2. So 10 times 10 is 100. If I work 10 hours, I'm going to make $100. Notice we have a vertical relationship and we also have a horizontal relationship. The vertical relationship is staying the same, multiplying by 10. Okay, multiplying by 10. So that's just a real intro to ratio tables. They're an easy way to help you figure out how to move, scale up and scale down the ratio. So this is just a real easy intro to ratio tables.